A disgraced head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, or the IAEA, Rafael Grossi, has once again pleaded for Iran to allow him the entry so that he could carry out the inspection of Iranian nuclear facilities. In his latest interview to a US TV network, CBS, the Argentinian national repeated four times, yes, four times, his desperate urge to visit Iran.
At some point, the IAEA will have to return, although I said to him that we should perhaps sit down and analyze in a gradual way um, the reconnection, the modalities for the inspectors to go back. This is why it is. I'm sorry, I'm repeating it for the third time. I think we need to go back. I'm sorry, fourth time, we have to go back.
One suspects why he's become so desperate all of a sudden. After all, Iran and the US have already destroyed Iranian nuclear facilities. So, what is the desperation for? He wrote a dubious report on Iran's nuclear capabilities and gave a misleading impression that Tehran was indeed on its way to weaponize its nuclear program. The rogue settler colony called Israel then, with the help of the US, launched an illegal attack on Iran, a sovereign country, assassinated top Iranian scientists and military generals, and dropped thousands of tons of bombs on the nuclear sites. And not once did this disgraceful man condemn those illegal acts. By his own admission, if you go by his speech in the United Nations Security Council, he has said that attacking nuclear sites is illegal under international law. But today, in his interview, he remembered the importance of international treaties to issue veiled threats to Iran, but comfortably ignored when the presenter asked him why he had not condemned Israel and the US for attacking Iran's nuclear facilities.
Is a party to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, like more than 190 countries in the world. Right. So that implies that they have to work with the agency. So we have to go. We have been going through this law that they have that the Majlis approved, and we see that they are talking about cooperation on the basis of the security and the safety of their sites. I think that is not incompatible with the inspection work that needs to take place. But of course, it's not Rafael Grossi and Margaret Brennan discussing this that we are going to solve it. I think I have to sit down with Iran and look into this. Is there law? Is there parliament? But here there are legal implications. An international treaty, of course, takes precedence. You cannot invoke an internal law not to abide with an international treaty. But
talking about the significance of international treaties, does it only apply to Iran, which has been a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or the NPT? Or why must this never apply to a rogue settler colony called Israel, which is believed to have stockpiled more than 90 nuclear bombs and has never been a signatory to the NPT? The more this man speaks, the more he exposes his slimy character. No wonder former UN weapons inspector Scott Ritter is convinced about Grossi's complicity in Israeli crimes.
Iran, which is a signatory to the NPT, has every right under Article 4 to have a nuclear enrichment program, and one has to wonder why Rafael Grossi and his colleagues in the IAEA are meeting with Israel, which has an illegal undeclared nuclear weapons program, is not a signatory to the NPT. There's no reason that can be articulated rationally that explains this other than Grossi has been working with Israel to pass intelligence to Israel and the United States about Iran's nuclear programs, intelligence that was used to target locations on the ground and to assassinate Iranian nuclear scientists, to murder Iranian nuclear scientists. So Grossi has the blood of Iran's nuclear scientists on his hands. I don't see how he could ever be allowed back into Iran, nor any inspection effort led by him. He must be replaced and a new inspection regime created, one that has adequate safeguards put on it to ensure that whatever data Iran shares with the IAEA is not passed on to nations hostile to Iran.
Listen to another former UN weapons inspector, Hans Blix, who had famously warned that there was no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Now 97, Blix remains as sharp as ever in his analysis.
Israel has attacked Iran's nuclear facilities, saying that there was an imminent nuclear danger. Do you buy that?
I think it is quite clear that is a straight violation of the UN Charter. The Charter allows self-defense against an armed attack, and Iran had performed no armed attack on Israel. Israelis have long had suspicions that Iran was moving towards a nuclear weapon. However, there is no evidence that they had.
And it's worth also mentioning, Dr. Blix, that there was a fatwa that was issued by Iran's supreme leader Khamenei in 2005, banning the development of nuclear weapons, calling them un-Islamic.
Yes, that the Iran regime has stood by that. But of course, if they continue being attacked by Israel, one doesn't know whether they would change their view in the future.
Why should the Western world accept a nuclear-armed Israel, but not a nuclear-armed Iran?
I think the world has remained critical of the Israeli development of nuclear weapons. And I think that they would gain in joining a nuclear weapon-free zone. I don't see any signs of the belligerent Israel moving in that direction, however.
Even former top British diplomat Sir Richard Dalton kept saying to Western media outlets that Iran was not pursuing nuclear weapons, but no one paid heed to his assessment either. Declassified UK has put together this brilliant montage of Sir Richard Dalton's TV appearances and how he kept demolishing the Western propaganda.
You are making quite absurd exaggerations about Iran.
Do you believe Iran was on the brink of nuclear weaponization?
No, and there is no evidence to that effect. This is an illegal aggression.
As the effect of intense Israeli lobbying, it is a very powerful force in our society.
I'm with Sir Richard Dalton, former UK ambassador to Iran and former UK Consul General in Jerusalem, who has been hitting back at some recent media coverage and recent stances of Western politicians on the bombing campaigns that the US and the Israelis have launched on Iran since the 13th of June.
This government is run by insane Islamic fundamentalists.
You are making quite absurd exaggerations about Iran.
But this compromised chap from Argentina had his own agenda to peddle. Hence his refusal to condemn the US and Israel for violating international law. As Scott Ritter says, he should be removed from his post and replaced with someone with impeccable integrity. In the meantime, it would be absolutely foolish for Iran to invite Grossi or his weapon inspectors to Iran again. That's it from me. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. Details are there in the description of this video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.